Stories of Survival, Kimberlie Hamilton. Africa. When we think of Africa, images of elephants, giraffes, and zebras strolling the plains and gorillas and forests to the hillsides often come to mind. Most of us have only met these creatures in books and films and on visits to zoos. But with many African animals under threat, it's time to make sure these are not the only places to find them in the future. As hard as this is to believe, some people deliberately kill these wild animals. They might be poachers seeking to sell body parts, or hunters who do it as a twisted form of fun. Shockingly, this cruel sport is still happening around the world despite action by conservationists and activists. Cecil the lion was one of the most famous big cats on the continent and a well-known research subject. When a trophy hunter killed him in 2015, people were shocked and angry. Despite the outrage over Cecil's death, hunters are still allowed to kill lions in many parts of Africa. There are laws against poaching animals such as rhinos and elephants, yet it still happens because their horns and tusks can be sold for enormous sums of money. African wildlife faces other dangers besides poaching. Baby chimps are stolen and sold as exotic pets. Mountain gorillas are killed for bushmeat and eaten by humans. Giraffes are facing a silent extinction, and much of the world doesn't even know about. The list goes on and on. The animals that share our planet exist together in a delicate balance. Scientists have discovered that the decline or disappearance of just a single species can have a negative impact on many others. This is why it is so important to help all of Africa's wonderful wildlife. A yumu, chimpanzee. A yumu is a chimp who is a memory champ. His short-term memory is better than the of most humans. In the blink of an eye, he can remember the exact position of 9 numbers randomly flashed up on a computer screen. In one test, he not only outscored other chimpanzees, he trounced a group of face-faced university students. The Japanese professor who studied him describes a yumu as naughty but harder working than the other young primates in the research lab. Yet, a yumu's uncanny ability to recall images he's seen for just a fraction of a second is not a skill that can be learned. It's just how his brain naturally works. This means that animals can not only be faster and stronger than humans, they sometimes can be a lot smarter than us too. Eco-elephant. With crossed stalks that made her easy to recognize, Iko was the matriarch of the world's most studied elephant family. She lived in a wildlife reserve in Kenya and was featured in books and documentaries. One filmmaking team followed Iko and her closest relatives for decades, recording every aspect of their lives. They observed elephants displaying a wild range of emotions, including comforting each other when distressed and grieving when one of the family members died. The team even filmed Iko giving birth, an event rarely captured on camera. Other memorable moments included Iko's dramatic rescue of a baby elephant who had been kidnapped by a rival family. Iko died in her 60s in 2009, but in true elephant fashion, she will never be forgotten. Honeybun Pangolin. Honeybun looks like a tiny dinosaur covered with sharp brown scales. His body armor is the reason pangolins around the world have been hunted to the point of extinction, as their scales are used in traditional Chinese medicine. Thankfully, Honeybun is safe from harm at sanctuary in Abyssinia. She became known after starring in the BBC's wildlife documentary Pangolins, the world's most wanted animal. Honeybun also appeared in a video campaign for pangolins with Chinese superstar Angela Baby, which was seen by more than 25 million viewers in China the day it was released. Getting people to care about pangolins is of utmost importance for their survival, and Honeybun is doing a fantastic job as an ambassador for her species. Huberta hippopotamus. Huberta, the wandering hippo, is one of the most famous animals in South African history. She set out on a walk in 1988 and just kept going. She made her way south along coastline, trapping through gardens and sugarcane fields, crossing rivers and golf courses, and venturing places few hippies have ever gone before. Local villages have Roberta a warm welcome whenever she went, and believing that she brought them luck. Nothing got in her way, not even the noise and traffic of a big city where they strolled right down the middle of a busy street. Was she visiting ancient lands, searching for an old body? No one will ever know. All in all, she walked 1,600 kilometers, 1,000 miles, during a remarkable 3-year journey that captured the hearts of the African people. Juwaven, Lemur. Juwaven was the star of an American TV show Zubumafu, a popular wildlife program for kids. During the show's 65-episode run, the white-furred, yellow-eyed lemur delighted school children around the world with his silly antics. He was bouncy and playful, loved to snack on mangoes and garbanzo beans, and could be quite naughty too. He couldn't resist grabbing the noses of his human friends. Juwaven retired to a lemur center in North Carolina, USA, where the lovable long-limbed lemur fathered 12 babies and attracted thousands of visitors a year. He introduced scores of people to lemurs, primates that are found in the wild only one place on Earth, Madagascar, a tropical island off the east coast of Africa. Coco, gorilla. Coco was born in 1971 in a zoo in California, USA, and became famous for understanding more than 2,000 words of spoken English and 1,000 words in a version of American Sign Language. She had a cheeky sense of humor, and one of the first signs she used to describe herself was Queen. Coco was the star of the several documentaries and counted comedian Robin Williams among her many celebrity friends. She was a talented photographer, and one image she took of her own reflection in a mirror was even used on the cover of National Geographic. Another time, the magazine featured an adorable cover photo of Coco cuddling a kitten she had rescued for her birthday. A gentle giant, Coco was admired by millions and changed the way many people thought about gorillas. Sudan Rhinoceros. With their unusual horns, rhinos have been called chubby unicorns, but they rarely live fairy tale lives. Rhinos are targeted by poachers for their horns, which can be illegally sold for a great deal of money. Sudan spent nearly 35 years at a European zoo where he was safe from harm, but he did not manage to breed. This was a big problem because Sudan was only one of 4 northern white rhinos left on Earth, and if he failed to reproduce, his species would become extinct. Conservationists came up with a crazy plan to airlift Sudan and the other rhinos to Kenya, hoping the native habitat might inspire them to mate. Surrounded by armed guards night and day, Sudan thrived in Africa and fathered a daughter. The world mourned when he died in 2018, the last male of his kind. Zephara Giraffe. Zephara was just a baby when she was captured in Egypt, Africa in 1825, designed to be a gift for the King of France. Loaded on board ship, she sailed down the Nile and across the Mediterranean to France, her head poking through a hole in the ship's deck. Upon reaching land, she began an epic 885-kilometer 550-mile walk from Marseille to Paris, accompanied by a famous naturalist, Geoffroy Saint-Hilaire. Crowds of spectators lined her path for the entire 40-day journey, eager to see the exotic, long-gauged creature with very own eyes. Zephara arrived in Paris in 1827 when she nibbled rose petals from King Charles VIII's hand and went to live at the Jardin des Plantes. With her beautiful long neck, Zephara kicked off a gyre-themed cultural case that lasted 18 years, inspiring everything from art to textiles to latest hairstyles that were shaped like tall horns.